Welcome to Brazil Decides. In this special report, we take you inside the elections of Latin America's largest country and its economic powerhouse. We'll tell you what's at stake and take an in-depth look at the ups and downs of this campaign. I'm Cody Weddle. Remember, you can follow our special reporting on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Also, follow us on our social networks with the hashtag Brazil Decides. Today we focus on media coverage of this election, both from outlets within the country and from the international press. How has the media covered this campaign, and how will it affect the vote on Sunday? To begin, we go to our correspondent on the ground in Brazil. Stephanie Kennedy has been investigating the general state of the media in Brazil. She has been talking to individual Brazilians and analysts. Stephanie, what did you find out?
Yes, well, the media has played a key role here in Brazil running up to the presidential elections. According to many, they actually are the opposition party. There has been an unfavorable bias towards Dilma Rousseff throughout the campaign, whereas opposition candidates are portrayed favorably day in, day out. Now, this pattern is also reflected in the international media. Opposition candidate Marina Silva is the darling of the international press. She has been on the cover of Time magazine. She's talked about in the Washington Post and the New York Times as the solution to the chaos that is being lived in Brazil. Nobody is talking about the success of the social policies under the Workers' Party government. Today we talked to various Brazilians to find out a little bit more about this situation with the media here in Brazil. Although the Workers' Party is currently in power and hopes to win these upcoming elections, its voice is sometimes overpowered by the dominant media corporations.
As the government is yet to implement reforms within the communication laws, the press has taken to the role of the opposition party. They are the ones that dictate the news, who give opinion, who denounce the government, so they play a key role in the election.
According to Emir, the news is dictated by 7 important families.
The Marinho family for O Globo, Mesquita for O Estado in Sao Paulo, they make up the national media. Then there are the regional ones, who are also tied to the national papers.
O Globo publishes the country's most widely read daily and occupies several television channels. But there are many who do not identify with its content.
O Globo only wants to know about what's going on in the world of football, novelas, what plays in its favor, what generates business. O Globo is corrupt. That's my opinion and that of many others. It's difficult to see O Globo reporting from within the communities.
Before this scenario, the Workers' Party government has pushed its campaign through the social networks and alternative media. Still, a much-needed reform in communication is what many Brazilians are waiting for. Stephanie Kennedy, Telesur, Rio.
And thanks to Stephanie, Brazilian news media has played an important role in this campaign, as you can imagine. Many accuse some outlets of abandoning objectivity and openly offering favorable coverage of the market and corporate-friendly candidates like Marina Silva and Aécio Neves. Take a look.
With the elections on the horizon, Brazil's media has begun to support some candidates over others. Such is the case with current President Dilma Rousseff, who has been criticized in some newspapers because of public spending during this year's World Cup. But those same papers don't mention the infrastructure investments and achievements of Rousseff's government. On the other hand, some candidates like Marina Silva have seen a recent boom in positive advertising by right-wing media. After the death of Eduardo Campos in a plane crash in August, Silva has taken a front seat in the campaign season. When several newspapers and TV stations began to support her candidacy and put her up against Rousseff's. After retracting himself from supporting gay marriage, Marina Silva was widely criticized by different news sources. The same news sources that barely talk about other candidates, like Aécio Neves, who was once a favorite to win the election by both national and international media. It remains to be seen if the current strategy of supporting one candidate over the others will affect President Dilma Rousseff's re-election campaign.
For more analysis on Brazil's media climate and the role it will play in Sunday's election, we turn to Breno Altman. Breno is a journalist with experience covering Brazilian politics. He's also the director of the website Opera Mundi, a site covering Brazil and Brazilian politics. Breno, thanks for joining us. In your experience as a journalist, in Brazil. In general, how would you describe the domestic media culture there, and how might it differ from what we're familiar with in the U.S. or Europe?
Good evening, and thank you for the invitation. I mean, media, in my opinion, is the main issue of Brazilian democracy nowadays. We are talking about a media owned by 9 families, which have the right to publish, to make listen, and to be seen everything what's happening in Brazil. I mean, we're talking about families who are owners of televisions, radios, internet websites, newspapers, and magazines. We are talking about a real monopoly, and it works as a political party, an organic political party in the hands of the right wing in Brazil. So this media is acting since the beginning of the Workers' Party governorship in 2003 as the real opposition party, covering its realization in the worst way it's possible to do it. And now in the campaign, acting in order to compete, in order to criticize, in order to demoralize Dilma Rousseff, the current president, and the candidate showed by the Workers' Party for a new mandate. I mean, we're talking about really about a serious problem, because if Brazil is not able to solve this problem, to democratize the media in the next years, maybe the democracy in this country is going to be in a very immediate and deep danger.
And so, are most Brazilians aware of this? Do they understand that the media corporations are very concentrated in a few families? When they go to pick up a newspaper, are they aware of that, or do they actually expect objective coverage?
I think nowadays we have another kind of conscience about the media issue in Brazil. Think about, I mean, the media is criticizing, is attacking the Workers' Party governorship since 2003. Although this very hard attack, elections after election, the Workers' Party is doing the president. I mean, is re-electing the president. What happens? Media is less important nowadays than it used to be, and many people, and a growing number of people, is taking note that media has a side in Brazil, and has the side of the richest people. They do not trust in media anymore as they used to in the past. So there is another kind of conscience about this issue, and I think the country is getting mature to reform the media laws in order to have a more democratic situation.
All right, Brano, thank you so much for joining us and for that insight. And tell us, sir, of course, we're on the streets of Brazil. We hit the sidewalks of Rio de Janeiro asking everyday Brazilians their thoughts on Brazilian media and its coverage of this election. Take a look.
To manipulate. That has always been the role of the media here in Brazil, led by the families of the oligopoly. So now is the time to talk about the democratization of the media.
Today, technology is very advanced. Computers, internet, telephones, and television. Channels for media in general. Yes, I believe the great majority of media manipulates people. They make up stories. They make promises. Yes, they manipulate us. I believe that.
Today, the papers are selling more copies. Are those that have promotions, that give away prizes. I don't think people are really getting the news as they used to. I think today the social networks have a greater reach.
The media corporations in Brazil are very manipulative, so they publish what they think they need to impose on the people. They know what they want. The papers here in Brazil are like that. They know what they want.
Remember, you can follow our special reporting on these elections at our website, telesurtv.net/English. Also, follow us on social networks with the hashtag BrazilDecides. Until next time, I'm Cody Weddle.